Hi, thanks for joining today's CAD lesson. In this exercise, we would model this wind turbine. It has four parts: the stand, the wing support, the bearing, which we are going to download the CAD model online. I will show you how to do that. Finally, we would assemble and animate just like you saw in the beginning of the video. If you have any comments, questions or concerns, contributions as well, you can leave them down in the comment section below. I would respond to them as soon as possible. Let's jump right into today's exercise. We have our software opened. Let's get a worksheet to begin the first part, which is the stand. And so we click on new app here. This is going to be a part, and so under part for 2D and 3D objects, we select the standard millimeter IPT. IPT is Inventor part template, and we are working in millimeters, and so we select this and create. For this part, we are going to use the revolve command to create the main body. To revolve, we know we need a 2D profile and an axis to revolve around. So let's draw our 2D profile. We click on the 2D sketch option and we can work on the XY plane. Now let me pan down a little and then we pick the line command. Let's draw this profile from the origin. And so we draw a horizontal line to the left. The length of this line is 80. Let's press enter. That looks too little, so we can zoom in. Okay, now we go up to a distance of 12. You can press enter, move to the right horizontally to a distance of 68. Let's enter. Now we can go up perpendicular to that to a distance of 240. Let's enter that as well. Double click the scroll mouse button and even pan down also. Now we'll move perpendicular to that to the left to a distance of 15. Let's enter that. Let's go up perpendicular to a distance of 20. We would enter that. Now to a distance here of, let's do 8 and enter that. Now we'll come down perpendicular to a distance of 11. We can enter that as well. And then we move towards the right perpendicular to that. Let's make sure we are locked onto the vertical line passing through the origin, and so there it is right there. And now from this point here, let's calm down. You can zoom in and then we will close the sketch. You can right click and then OK. Our sketch is fully constrained, and so we can finish it. Now we want to revolve. Double click the scroll mouse button so you see your work. Let's choose the revolve command. The profile to be revolved has been correctly selected. Now the axis we want this profile to go around is going to be this very vertical line, and so let's select that. And we see the preview of that. That looks fine, and so we can go ahead and then OK. So let's turn this around now. On this face, we can create a sketch on it. Let me zoom in a little. We pick the circle command. Let's draw a circle from the origin. The diameter of this circle is 10. We would press enter. Let's finish this, and we want to extrude this circle. The extrude command. The profile to be extruded has been selected, but for the behavior we want to reverse that, and so under direction we choose flipped, and it changes the boolean straight away to a cut. Now the depth or the length of this cut, we want to keep that at 60 millimeters. The preview is fine, and so we can OK. Let me get the isometric view so we can continue. Now let's apply some fillets. Pick the fillet command up here. The fillet radius we want to do 4, and let's select this edge. We turn this around and also that one. We can OK. Let me get the isometric view. Also on this face, we want to create a sketch on that. Let's pick the circle command so we can draw our pitch circle to place some holes on it. From the origin, draw a circle. The diameter is 120. Let's enter that. Right click and then OK. Now let's pick this circle we just drew and make it constructional. Then we go ahead and pick the circle command. Let's put one circle here. The diameter of this circle is going to be 15, we can enter that. Now let's apply a constraint, which is going to be the vertical constraint, to say that align the midpoint of the circle with the origin vertically. Okay, that looks fine. We can also pattern this circle, so just right click and then OK. First of all, let's pattern this circle, the circular pattern command here. Let's pick the geometry, which is this circle. The axis we want that pattern to go around, we can use our pitch circle. The preview of that says 6 instances, which is right here, and that is okay for us. That should go around a 360-degree angle, and so we can OK. Now let's finish this sketch. We want to extrude these profiles, the extrude command. Let's select those profiles, which is going to be this one. This is the second one. Just pick all of them. You can also go ahead and click and drag over them. Okay, now for the direction, let's reverse that. The boolean is going to be a cut, and we want the cut to go through this thickness, and so for that reason we will pick the through all command. In the future, if even we change this thickness, the extrusion will still go through all to the new thickness we've changed it to. Alright, now let's press OK. For the next step, we want to model the ribs. To do that, let's pick a plane to work on, and so open up the default planes, pick the YZ plane. Let's create a sketch on that plane. Let me pan down a little and even zoom in, so we can pick the line command. Let's draw a line from this vertical line and lock that onto the horizontal line down here. You can right click and then OK. We are not logged on there, so what I will do is to project this line and then apply a coincidence relationship between the point here and the line we just projected, so it is logged on right there. If you have yours logged there with the first try, then that is fine, but if not, this is a method you can use to lock it. You can right click and then OK. Let me zoom in so we can apply some dimensions. And so the dimension command, the distance between the point where we began drawing the line and this horizontal line is 50, and then the angle between the vertical line and the line we drew is 30. Now we can finish this and choose the option that says rib here. It is under the create group rib. Now we pick the second option here that says parallel to sketch plane, and so we select that. Now we can pick the profile we want to rib, which is this one, and we see the preview of that. The thickness of that we want to change to 4, and then it's also supposed to be symmetric, and let's keep it at 2 next. We can OK. We need multiples of this. For that we will use the circular pattern command, and so it is here. Let's pick that the feature we want to create patterns of is going to be the rib we just did. The rotational axis can be any circular axis, and so this is fine. The placement, we want the occurrences to be 6 to go around a 360-degree angle. The preview is exactly what we want, and so we would OK. Part is almost done. Let's apply some final detailing. First of all, a fillet. The fillet radius, will change that to 2. Let's see how that looks like to this edge. Also this one, and then this edge as well as that one. Let's OK. Now we want to change the appearance, and so let's drop down the appearance option, and I will choose galvanize. So just type G. The first G word is going to be galvanized. We will select that. This looks fine. Alright, and to save this, I have prepared a folder on my desktop. That is where I'm going to save this as the part number 1, stand. Now that the first part is done, let's go ahead and work on the second part, which is going to be the wing. Let's get the worksheet into new standard millimeter IPT template and create. Now let's pick the 2D sketch command. For this, we are going to work on the HC plane or the top plane. Now we can pick the circle command. Let's draw two circles from the origin. The first one is of diameter 104. The second one is of diameter 100. Double click the scroll mouse button. Now let's pick the line command. Let's draw a line to divide these circles into two, making sure we lock onto these points of the bigger circle. You can right click and then OK, but this line is not rightly placed, so we would apply a coincident relationship between the midpoint of the line and the origin. Now we choose the trim command. Let's take off this part as well as that. Now we go ahead and finish the sketch. Double click the scroll mouse button and then we would extrude. The extrude command. The profile we want to extrude is going to be this profile, this very one here. The direction, let's keep that at symmetric. The distance of this extrusion, we are going to do 200. And let's OK since the preview looks fine. Now let's apply some fillets. The fillet command. The fillet radius is going to be 45. Let's apply it to this part. Also that here. And then let's see. Let's change the fillet radius to 50. Let me see how that looks. Okay, 50 is fine, and so we can OK. Now we need to draw the support on the back side, and so let's look for a plane to work on, but we are going to offset a plane to that anyway. The plane is going to be, let's see, the XY plane, but we want to offset that. Let's do a distance of 52. So it lies right behind, but let's negate this. So let's look at the right. It's going to lie right behind this, which is exactly what we want. Let's check that. Now we will select that plane and create a sketch on it. Let's pick the rectangle command, the one that says the 2-point center rectangle. Let's draw a rectangle here and we will dimension it, and so the width of this is 14, and then the height here is going to be 45. Right, now we can go ahead and finish this, and we want to extrude that, and so the extrude command. Let's reverse the direction of extrusion by choosing the flip. The distance of this extrusion, we are going to do 5 mm. Let's see how that looks. Okay, I think it's fine. Let's even reduce that a little bit to 4, and the preview is fine, so we can OK. Now we can turn off the visibility of this plane, so just touch on it, right click and choose the option that says visibility. Now on this face, we are going to create a sketch. Let's pick the circle command. Let's draw a circle here. The diameter of this circle is 6. Let's enter that. We also have to draw another one here, but apply an equal constraint between the two, and then a vertical constraint between the midpoint of the circle and the origin. Also, let's do same for the other circle. Then we will dimension the distance between these two circles as 25, and then the distance between this point and the origin is 12.5. Let's enter that, and then we can finish the sketch. We want to extrude those profiles, and so the extrude command. Let's pick the profiles, which will be this circle and then this one. The boolean is going to be a cut, and we want the cut to go through all. So it should go all the way through this part as well, and now we can OK. Now let's change the appearance of this and save this. And so the appearance, we are going to choose snow type S to move to the S column and pick the one that says snow. There it is right here. And I would save this in the same folder as part number 2 wing. We go on to create the third part. Let's get a worksheet into a new app here. Standard millimeter IPT. Let's create. The third part is the wing support. Let's pick the 2D sketch command and work on the top plane. Now we'll pick the circle command. Let's draw a circle from the origin. The diameter of this circle is 18.4. We would enter that, and then we can finish this and extrude. The profile has been selected. The direction, let's make it symmetric. The distance of this extrusion is 22.5. Let's enter that. Now let's turn this around, and then on this face we would create a sketch on it. Let's pick the circle command a second time, and from the origin draw a circle of diameter 10 and enter. We would also finish this, and then we can extrude. So the extrude command, the profile has been selected, but the distance of extrusion is already changed to 70, and okay, let me get the isometric view. Next, let's look for a plane to work on to draw those rods on which the wings will be mounted. Let's open the default planes. Let's see a plane we can work on. We can work on the XY. We select that and create a sketch on that plane, but we don't see the plane, and so we pick the slice graphics option. Right, now we go ahead and pick the rectangle command, the one that says 2 points. We can draw a rectangle from here. Let's leave this here, and then we will dimension the distance between the origin and this vertical line. Let's make that 3 and enter. The length of this line is 150. We would enter that as well. Also, let's put a horizontal constraint between the origin and the midpoint of this line, and then also we would dimension the length of this as 5 and enter. Now we would finish this and use the revolve command, and so revolve, the profile has been selected. The axis of revolution is going to be this horizontal line. The preview is fine, and so we can go ahead and OK. Now we will select this face and create a sketch on that. For that, let's pick the rectangle command, the one we just used, and we can draw a rectangle here. Now we will dimension this rectangle, and so the length of this line is 45. The width of this line is going to be 4. We would enter that. Now let's apply a constraint, which is going to be the horizontal one between the origin and the midpoint here, and then also dimension the distance between this point and the origin. Let's do 4. Let me see how that looks. Okay, I think 4 is fine. Let's also do 3 and see. I think the 4 was better, so let's change that back to 4 and enter. Now we can finish this, and we want to extrude. The profile is selected, but we want to reverse the direction of that. It's going to be a cut as the boolean. The depth of that cut, let's change now to 14 and OK. Now on this face, let's create a sketch. Let me pan. Let's pick the rectangle command. Let's draw a rectangle here. We can dimension this, and so the width is 14. The length of this is 45. Let's apply some constraints to put it right, and so the vertical constraint between the midpoint of the top line and the middle here. Also, we would apply a horizontal relationship between the midpoint of this line and the middle point here. You can right click and then OK. Now let's finish this sketch, and we want to extrude into the extrude command. The profile is this rectangle we just drew. The distance of that extrusion will change to 5, and then we would OK. Now on this face we would create another sketch. Let me pan to the middle. Let's use the point command. Let's put 2 points here, and then we will dimension these points. And so the distance between this point and this line is going to be 7. Okay, now the distance between these 2 points, that will be 25. Also, the distance between the first point and the middle here is 12.5. Then the distance between this point and this edge here is also 7. Let's enter that. That fully constrains the points, and so we would finish and use the whole command. And so the hole is going to be a tabbed hole. The seat is none. The type is isometric profile. The size is what we want to change to 6. Designation M6 by 1 class 6H is supposed to be right-handed, and we want the termination to be through O. The direction is fine. The depth is 12, which is fine, and so we would OK. Now let me turn that around and see. Okay, that has been neatly done. Next, we would apply a fillet. Let's pick the fillet command. The fillet radius is 1 mm. We would apply it to this edge and OK. Now we want to create multiples of this whole part. Let's look for those parts. It's going to be the revolution 1. Hold down the control key, the extrusion 3, the extrusion 4, the hole, and also the fillet. Now we would pick the circular pattern command. The features are what we have just selected, and for the axis it should go around. We can use any circular axis. This is OK. Let's make the placement 6. As the occurrences, it should go around a 360-degree angle. Let's OK and see. Alright, that has been neatly done. Also on this face, let's create a little bit of detailing there. We will pick the circular command. Let's put a circle here. The first one of diameter 5, let's enter. Let's put another one also of diameter. Let's do 9 and enter. Now we can finish this. Let's extrude this part. Let's cut that to a depth of, we can do about 3 or even 2, and then OK. This part is also done. We can change the appearance. Let's use the appearance options. We will pick horn type H and pick horn. This is fine, and so we will go ahead and save this as our part number 3, the wing support. Now we move on to the last part, which is a bearing, but we are not going to draw a bearing. I'll show you a very simple way to get CAD models of different bearings online. So let's go ahead and do that. Now make sure you have a browser opened, and so there I have mine, and you can just type in this. It says, let me go back so you see, just type in this. I won't even go back, it is right here, SKF6202 bearing dimensions. Once you type that, just select the first option you see, which is going to be this one. It will take you to this page. Now come down here, you see overview, technical specifications. Click on the third one, which is CAD. Let's even scroll down again. There we have the type of bearing we type in. Okay, so now let's select the CAD option we want. We drop this down. Let's choose the inventor CAD option, which is here, and CAD download, so we can get it opened. Let's give that a few seconds. Alright, and so there we have our bearing very easy and simple. We can make some few modifications here, and so we will change the appearance. So for the housing, hold down the control key and the inner housing as well. I am going to change the appearance to chrome polished. And then for the balls, which is going to be this one, I am going to change the appearance of that to the glossy black. Okay, so there we have it, very easy and simple. Now we have all our four parts. So we have the stand, the wing, we have the wing support, and the bearing. We can now go ahead and assemble. So to assemble, let's get an assembly sheet template. And so we click on new app here under assembly, assemble 2D and 3D components. We select the standard millimeter IAM and create. Now this is our assembly sheet template. We can start bringing in our parts. Let's click on place to then open. Don't click yet, right click rather and choose place grounded at origin. So our first part is in place. You can right click and then OK. From here, I like to change the view and the visual style to shaded with edges. I prefer this graphics a lot. Alright, now our first part is grounded. We can bring in another. Let's go back to the assembly tab, click on place and right click and choose rotate Z at 90 and let's place that here. You can right click and then OK. Let's apply some constraints. So the constraint command, the type is going to be the first one, which is the mate. The solution also is going to be a mate. Let's apply a concentric relationship between this one and that we can apply. Let's close this and even drag the bearing and apply another constraint. And so the constraint command, we just want to reduce the degree of freedoms between this face here. Let's turn this around so we can select this face as well. We have our bearing right in place. We can apply. Let me close this and get the isometric view. We can also bring in another part, and so let's click on place and we want to drop that right here. Right click and then OK. Let's apply the constraint, which is going to be a concentric one between this and then that. Let's apply and then we can close it. Let's move this and apply another constraint, and so the constraint command, let me turn this around and select this face, and then also we will select this face. Let's apply that. Let me close this. Okay, so we have that also in place. Just click and turn and see. You should be able to get this motion. Now let's bring in the final part, place, and we can drop that here. Let's right click and then OK. We would apply some constraints, and so the constraint command, let me turn this around. Let's do this face and then any of the faces of this wing support. Okay, let's apply, and then also we can do this edge and this very one here. Let's apply, and then finally let's do, let me turn this for a good view. We want to do this edge and this very one. Let's apply. If we did everything right, those two should be well aligned. Let me cancel this and get the isometric view. Okay, so now we have all our parts in place, but we have to circular pattern the wing. Let's do that, and so let's pick pattern under the pattern group. Let's choose circular pattern here. The component we want to pattern is going to be this particular component, and let's look at the placement. We can go around this circular axis, but the instances we want 6 of them, not 4, and then we want to divide that by 360, and so we do 360 divided by 6, so we have 6 of them that has been neatly placed, and then we would OK. Alright, now we are left with some bolts to connect the wing to the wing support. We can get some bolts from the content library, and so drop down the place option, choose place from content center. Let's give that some few seconds. It depends on the quality of your machine though. And so let me even suppress this. Under fastness, let's open that, and we want to choose bolts. Under bolts, you can choose the hex head, so I would select that here, and you can pick whichever one you want to pick. Let me just do this particular one and open that. Let me turn this, and then I want to place it at this hole. So just zoom in and make sure you are selecting the hole which is there for me. Let me check that. Okay, it has been placed. Alright, but the length seems to be a little bit shorter. Let's just right click and apply first. And let me close this. So we have the bolts placed here and there, but the bolt is a little bit short. So this is how we can edit it. You can do that from here. Just click, right click, and then choose change size. Now we have the size here, we have the length also here. Let me do 12 and apply. Let me also do same for this second bolt. 12, let's apply. Okay, but we can also pattern those bolts as well. Let's do that with the pattern command. Circular pattern. What do we want to pattern? We can select those two from the model browser. Then the placement, we can go around this circular axis. We want 6. We should go around 360 divided by 6. And OK. Now we have our bolts placed at all of those holes. Okay. I think we can even animate this. Let's do that. So let's choose joint. Let me open this, and then you can select this edge, and then also you can even do this face as well. There we see a preview of that. It is exactly what we want. Let's apply, and then we can close this. Let me go back and get the isometric view. Now let's look for that joint we just placed, but it would be under relationship, so you can open that. There it is, rotational. Just click, right click, and then choose drive. Now let's choose when to start. Let's do 0 degrees, and then we want to end that at about 360 degrees. Okay, and let's play it from here. That is awesome. Let me close this. Let's do our basic rendering until we go to view. The view type is shaded with edges, which is fine. Let's apply shadows. You can apply reflection. You can do a ground plane if you want. Let me change the lightning effect to photo boost. And then I also found this in the Autodesk Inventor 2025. I think I'm even abusing it. We can choose to change the color for each part, and there we go. Let's see if we can also animate from here. So rotational, right click, let's drive that, and we want to take that back and play. Okay, and so that is going to be it for this tutorial. I hope you've learned a thing or two. If you have, kindly consider subscribing to this channel. Don't forget to also give this video a thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or contributions, you can drop them down in the comment section below. I would respond to them as soon as possible. Don't forget to share this with your pad friends and save this. I'll see you soon in the next tutorial. Bye.